So exciting day today, real exciting today, because we made our first big purchase. And I stress a purchase. We didn't get this given to us. We did it because we need it. So come with me. This is a monumental time. At least for us, it's monumental because we made money. Oh, there he is. And actually, that is Ben. That is Ben. That's our septic guy. So you can keep the video going, James, on that. Don't matter. And yes, sir. You want to follow me up there?
Yes, sir, I'll do it.
All right. Awesome. So anyway, it's an exciting day, exciting moment because of what we got here. That wasn't the exciting moment. That was a surprise. That's our septic installer. So here we have coming up is our new toy that, and there it is. It's our 54 horse tractor. And there it is right there. And I don't see the forks, but everything else, we're gonna come back and deal with that here in a little bit. But we're gonna go up and meet Ben real quick. Like I mentioned to you before, the reality and the need of a septic field is real important. That pretty much governs just about everything on your property. Where you can put stuff, where you can put houses, where you can put obviously bathrooms, and getting that septic field rightly placed is real important. So Ben is worth his weight in gold to us, for sure. We also today have another really important thing. It's right up here. All right, there it is right there, the most important thing on the whole property, and that is a porta-john. He put it in the wrong spot, but that'll work. All right, so we are here. Let's get with Ben and talk about stuff we don't want to talk about. So I was really excited about this part right here. I waited and waited and waited and worked on it and thought about it and pray about it and had second thoughts about it and then went back to doing it. Let me show you. So how to get it? I had to get a tractor. Now, before, there's a couple of things with this. Before you judge me, or before you look at it and say, that's great for him, he's got all this money. Wrong. No. The reality is when you acquire a piece of property like this, we have spent a decent amount of money getting it where we can walk around up here. And nature is gonna take it back over if you don't maintain it. So this tractor was at least a month or two of trying to figure out which tractor I was gonna have and purchase and which one I didn't. I finally went with this Kubota. It is something that is questionable, I think, for a couple of reasons. One is, as we are seeking to build a community as well, what we are looking to is put our hands in the dirt, get in the soil, and be as self-sufficient as possible. This is cheating. Let's face it. This is cheating because something goes on and you can't get diesel fuel or whatever happens, and this is it could be a brick one day. But the reality of that happen is there's a lot going on if that happens. So we're not going to live like that. But the reality is taking care of this property with all its rock, with all its grass, with all that needs to be moved and changed and building going on and everything else. Without doing it, it's actually more unsafe than it is safe. We have a lot of building to do, and this tractor is capable of doing so much more than a little tractor that I had on my other property. So anyway, needless to say, it was a decision we made. It's a compromise in the size, though it's perfect for what we need. So I want to show you what we got. and kind of just briefly go over it. I know this is not a tractor review, but it's something that, you know, if you have kids, like I have a son that is capable of doing a lot of things, but he's not as strong as me yet, but you put him in this tractor and he is as capable as I am, which really adds a lot to being able to do things. My daughter the same way. So these tractors really add a lot to being able to be functional and to get a lot more done, particularly when you're on a large piece like this. So anyway, this is a Kubota 5400. It's a 54 horsepower tractor. It's got a loader, a 6-foot bucket on the front here, and we did get forks for it, and those forks can lift about 2,500 pounds off the ground to about 6 feet. So that alone, when you're moving around material, when you're moving all sorts of stuff around, having that capacity, where the little one I had only lifted about 600 pounds, which was probably literally 3 sheets of drywall or so. So it doesn't do a whole lot. But this, with the forks on it, will do us great. So let's take a walk around it here real briefly. And like I said, it's got a 6-foot. 6 foot, it is light duty. What that means is, you know, you can do some rocks with it. You could do mulch. It's great for mulch and that sort of thing. If you got to level out some things, you're not going to take this and go knock down trees with it, and it's not designed for that. But we have the capacity to add different components to the front of this. One thing awesome about this is we have what they call the third function valve on it, and you don't need to know that, but know that what you do need to know is that if you ever want to add anything to the front of this tractor that requires hydraulics, like a grapple, which can grab, you need hydraulics up here, and you need to get that put on. That doesn't come standard, so you have to have that additional thing put on here. A grapple for us with rocks is hugely important. We have a lot of rocks and we want to move them out of the way. Maybe use those rocks for something else. That's what's great about it. You could take them up, put them in a pile, use them for fill, for foundation. You can use them to do something with landscaping. So there is a lot you can actually gain from getting the right tools. I didn't buy the grapple yet. Need to save our money for that, but we have the bucket. So now we did go with the cab, and I'll show you inside the cab in a minute. But with the cab, the reason why we went with that is another reason. The tractor itself, cost-wise, it doesn't add a whole lot. I mean, it's probably about a $5,000 option, which you say, well, that's kind of a lot. But it might be actually more than that. But it's got air conditioning and heat, and you say, oh, that's great. So you're going to be this roughing it guy going out in the wilderness, off the grid, and you need an air-conditioned cab, right? I get it. I get the whole thinking. But here's the thinking I want to talk to you about this. And here was the reasoning for it. So I don't know about you, but where we are in Tennessee, June, July, August, middle of the day, from about 11 till about 4 or 5, it is 95 degrees, a bazillion% humidity, and working in a field or even cutting grass back and forth, you will be baked like a lobster. And that really diminishes your ability to work. So the reasoning for this cab was now we're gonna do our yard work, some of our stuff in our gardens and building and all sorts of things, that sort of thing, during the morning or late after dinner, evening, where it cools down. But now we've just regained about 5 or 6 hours a day that we can be in this tractor doing all sorts of things, whether it's grading, getting roots up, getting rocks up, cutting the grass. We get all that back. Now, yes, you can cut it. You can cut it in the grass in the middle of the day. I get that. But the reality is it beats you up and it wears you out. And, you know, we're not in this to torture ourselves. We're in this to, you know, work hard, sweat, we're okay with it, but we want to get as much done as possible. I live by the notion that we do a little bit each day, and it adds up at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, to a lot of work, and we can transform the property. but I don't want to have that lull in the middle of the day where I have nothing to do because it's blazing hot out here, or it's raining. You know, we get a lot of rain here. You can do things in the rain, you know, maybe not downpour, but it's showering and raining. You're not going to be sitting out in a tractor when it's raining out, typically, without a cab. So that was the justification for getting it, and that was our reasoning for getting it. Maybe different than you, but for us, I've had a couple, you know, now this is my second tractor. That was the reasoning for that. Anyways, take you back here real briefly. This is actually for our other tractor. It's a box blade. It keeps down our driveway, our rocks. It's also good. You can use it for leveling out some land, getting some roots up with these tines that you can put down. And we got something here. This is something you may want to consider if you ever do get a tractor. This is a quick hitch attachment. If again, this is through learning experience. Quick hitch allows you to hook these rear implements up a lot faster. Without this, changing these back implements is absolutely, can be annoying. It could actually be dangerous. And here's the reason why. A lot of these pins, they get stuck. And you're trying to maneuver this tractor around, and if you're by yourself or somebody's with you and you're backing the trailer up, moving it up and down, you have a chance of getting your hands stuck. You get a chance of smashing your fingers, because these pins a lot of times get stuck, and the tractor's weight and how much weight you have on the implement changes how difficult it is to get this implement off. And this quick hitch pretty much gets rid of it. These come out, you move this little handle up, you could just back up, drop this, and this whole thing will come off. And it makes these implements go on at least 100% faster than we did before. So it does take a little bit of getting to learn, and we had to do that. But it's a great attachment. Again, if it's in your budget, you try to get a tractor, this might be something you really do want. If you have a lot of implements like we do, this is vital. If you only have one implement, you know, you're using a bush hog, and that's it. We have a tiller, a bush hog, the box blade. You know, we have a number of them, and it's real laborious. So we got that with it. Anyway, let me just show you here. So here's the cab. Again, it's got AC, heat. Again, it's about function for us, really, and getting the most work out of this tractor. It is not a cheap tractor. It is definitely not the most expensive tractor by far, but it is something we felt was really valuable for us here on the homestead out here. So I wanted to show you this. It is definitely something that we had to finance. We didn't just go out and buy this thing. We weren't given this by a rich uncle or by by Kubota, that's for sure. We purchased it, and it is something we feel is absolutely necessary for what we do here. Kubota is a great brand. This is my second one. I cannot deny that I have not had one problem with the other one, and their insurance plan is amazing. Their insurance plan on it, it's expensive. Particularly when you finance these, you got to have so much insurance like a car. But this has a damage as well, and it's got a full warranty. So anything that breaks in this trailer, bumper to bumper, anything that breaks, you pay $250 and they fix it. They'll come out and fix it. That includes the implements. That includes if you're out there in the field and you hit a rock and screw up your gearbox out there, it's all covered for $250. So I fix some things like these, and I can tell you, one gearbox will cost you a fortune. So it's very well worth it. We just tied that into our financing. Now, one brief thing on financing. I think that's important to hear from me because, you know, a homestead and what we're doing here is community and being a community of faith and people who believe in things. We don't really believe a whole lot in debt. I get that. There's balances in what you have to do. And debt is not the best thing to do. But it is if you have a larger strategic plan. And we do have that here. This place is not just for our personal use. It's not because we're just going to be here and just have this gigantic, wonderland for everybody. We plan on making this an income producing property at some point. So that's how we can get away with financing that. On top of it, we only paid 0.85% on the rate. You heard me right, 0.85%. That was amazing in itself. Now, they have their ways of adding money into it. I'm sure they jack up the price to get their money out of it, I'm sure. But we felt the price was actually pretty fair. So, but I want to let you know, we all can't do what we maybe want to do, but we try our best. And this was for us through some prayer and some consideration, obviously with my wife, consideration. This was the decision we made, the direction we made to go. So I'm excited about it. I'm glad you got to see it. If you have any questions or anything about it, or something you want to add, you can send us an email, or you can also put a comment in the comment section, and I'll be sure to answer that as best I can. But tractors I have a little more experience on, so I can talk a little more confidently about that. But anyway, I hope you share the joy with us about this tractor. Thanks for joining us in this episode.